In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at some of the rarest and most expensive Sega Genesis peripherals, add-ons and extras that money can buy. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. So in this week's show, we're going to be looking at some of the rarest, most expensive peripherals, add-ons and extras that you can buy for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive that are in my collection. And I have some of the rarest items that you can pick up. I don't have all of them though. So as you go through this show and you notice that I don't have something particular that you think should be in this collection, make sure you drop down into the comments below and let me know exactly what it is. Now we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 rarest add-ons and peripherals in my collection, and we're going to be prioritizing them from least rarest to rarest. And when I say rarest, obviously some of that will mean scarcity as well, and those of you that have been collecting for a while will know what's rare and what's scarce, but I'm going to use rarity as a catch-all for this video. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first item on the list. We're going to be kicking things off with this. This is the control pad extension cable. Now these things were readily available back when I was a kid. In fact, I had two of them. And all it did was extend your cable for your controller, which was pretty useful if your TV was at the other end of the room. Now this little cable has become pretty rare, especially in its box. I guess because people threw them away when they got their brand new consoles. They didn't keep the boxes because why would you keep the box for a cable? But if you want a boxed cable version of this, it's going to cost you around £80. It is very expensive for what it is, and they don't crop up too often. If you go onto eBay, you may find one or two there, and often it's actually the same one that's been up there for the last 24 months. And it's probably because it's so expensive. The Sega Mega Drive modem. Yes, you could go online with your Sega Mega Drive if you were in Japan. And it was pretty advanced stuff. There was some peer-to-peer games in there. There was the ability to do voice chat with it. It was quite an amazing peripheral and well ahead of its time. Now, this device again isn't super rare. You can pick them up on eBay fairly regularly, but it is expensive. Up to £200 to pick one of these up complete in box, and well over 100 if you want to pick one up loose. But if you're looking to have that complete Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, then adding an official Sega modem to it will help you get that little bit closer to it. So the Mega CD Mark I. Now this is not particularly rare. I'd say this is like a 6 out of 10 in terms of rarity. What is hard to get though is to get this complete in box. And also with this is the VHS Traders tape that has a load of advertising material on it for the Sega Mega CD Mark I. The Mark I, in my opinion, is the best looking console when attached to the original Mark I Mega Drive. I don't think you can beat it for 90s sleekness. It was aggressive, it looked cool, it had lights on it, it had an automatic tray. It was one of the best consoles ever made. Not for games necessarily, but definitely for looks. Now this is in the list because it is expensive. Costs you around £230 just to buy a Mega CD with a couple of gubbins. But if you want it like this, complete in a box, and I mean complete in box, not just box and manual, everything in there, all the cardboard inserts, extra leaflets, proper bags. This is going to cost you upwards of £500. It's an expensive console, and it's not hard to see why. These things break regularly, and It's not going to be long before they do generally start to become rare as the equipment fails, people throw them away, or they're just not repairable anymore. The Sega 32X, Sega's ill-fated add-on, and one that I absolutely love. I loved playing Doom on this. This is the first console to get a version of Doom on it. I loved playing Virtua Fighter. I loved playing Virtua Racing. It was an absolutely stunning console for those of us that loved arcade games. And it was my first foray into 3D gaming with arcade quality graphics. Now, of course, it quickly got replaced with the PlayStation, but still, I've got a lot of love for the Sega 32X. Now, in terms of rarity, not super rare, probably a 7 out of 10. You can pick them up easily enough, but they are becoming rarer and scarcer as these things start to fail and collectors hold on to the consoles that they want. Now, if you wanted to buy one, you can pick one up loose, and it'll probably cost you around £200. If you want one like this, and if you want one specifically that's version 1, and there's a version 2 out there, version 1 has different packaging to version 2. So if you want a version 1 version of the 32X with everything in it, it's going to cost you $300 plus. Again, some of these can go upwards of £500. So it's an expensive peripheral with very few games on it. But if you love collecting for your Genesis and your Mega Drive, if you've got nostalgia and passion for some of the games that came out on the console, it's an absolute must. Next up, we got a 2-for-1, the officially Sega branded Nuby storage solutions. Now, Nuby was a US manufacturer that specialized in storage solutions for games, consoles, and peripherals. And for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive, they made 4. We've got this, the cartridge caddy, and we've got this, the system carry case. Now, they also made 2 soft cases, which I've not managed to find and add to the collection yet. Now, in terms of rarity, the system carry case here is less rare. You can find them regularly popping up on eBay. And the important thing to note is that this has Sega molded into the front of the carry case. Now, I think Nuby also made versions for rentals, but the Sega branding was missing from it. Obviously, they couldn't sell Sega branded stuff, and it would have cost them more because they'd have to pay a percentage to Sega for every unit they sold. So people often mistake the Nuby official Sega branded case for a rental case. Now, if you have an official Sega branded Nuby system carry case, then you're looking at about £200, which is about, I don't know, $260. So quite an expensive peripheral for something that's not necessarily that rare. What's rarer though is this, the cartridge caddy. And to find the cartridge caddy boxed is even rarer. But it's not super expensive, or at least not compared to its big brother over here. This is around £90 to buy. Still a massive markup on what it would have used to cost, which is about £10, but it's cheap compared to some of the other peripherals and add-ons that we're going to see in today's video. These are 2 little cool storage devices and a part of Sega's history, and I really hope I can find the other 2 Nuby storage cases. The Sega mouse, what a great peripheral this is. If you own one of these and play some of the games that it supports, you know how good this can be. It's a real game changer. And I wish it was available for games like Dune 2. It would have absolutely changed the gameplay for it. Now, this mouse is rare and hard to get hold of depending on which one you're after. Now, if you're after a Japanese version of the mouse, which is very similar to the European one in that it's got blue buttons instead of red ones, then you can find one easy enough. They crop up on eBay at least once a month. If you want the Genesis version, it's a little bit harder. It's a completely different looking model from the Japanese and PAL looking versions, but they're out there. A bit pricey, but they're out there. But by far the hardest one to get hold of, and the most expensive one, is a complete in-box European mouse. This will set you back £200 to £250. And trying to find one is pretty damn hard. They crop up maybe once or twice a year if you're lucky. It is an awesome little device. I wish more games supported it. And if you can get hold of one, grab it. It's a ton of fun to play games with. This is the Mega CD Karaoke add-on, and this is really hard to get hold of. It only came out in Japan and it only works with the Sega Mega CD. And so if you work back from how many Mega CDs were actually sold in Japan versus how many of these units you would have made, you quickly get to a number that's not huge. And to find them here in Europe is even harder. Now they crop up on different sales sites, maybe 3 or 4 times a year. And you can pick them up loose for around £400. But if you want a complete in-box version that comes with a microphone, adapters, cables, instruction manual, then you're going to pay well over £1,000 for it. Is it worth it? Depends how much you like your karaoke. We've got another cable, and this cable is really rare to get hold of. This is the audio and video cable, officially branded audio and video cable from Sega. And to find one of these boxed is almost impossible. I've seen one crop up, maybe 2 crop up in the last 5 years. Really, really hard to get hold of this. And it's amazing how many of these cables are really hard to get hold of. And it depends, of course, where you are. If you're in the States, it's a little bit easier to find them. Sometimes it's easier to find the official Japanese cables, things like power adapters, extension cords. Those kind of things are a lot easier to find in Japan. But in Europe, the cable situation, the official cable situation, is very hard. There's a few cables that I still don't have, like the official SCART cable. Never seen one out in the wild. The official RF cable, never seen one anywhere, but it exists. It's out there somewhere. So cables seem to be quite a rare thing, officially branded cables at least, a rare thing to find for your Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. If you want these audio video cables, they're going to set you back at least £90 for a complete in-box version. So this is the Lethal Enforcers gun and game, and in fact the only way you can get Lethal Enforcers on your Sega Mega Drive and your Genesis is by buying this combo here. And it's a very, very cool peripheral. Now I know a lot of you are saying at the moment, Mike, this isn't rare or expensive. You're 100% right. This sells for between £50 and £100. It is by far the best light gun you can get for your Sega Mega Drive and your Genesis, but you're right, not super rare. It's fairly expensive. £100, what's that, about $120 there. But this is the thing that's not expensive or rare. We've got this. This is the 2-player version of the gun. This plugs into the bottom of your blue gun so that you can have 2 players playing at the same time. And the way the Justifier works is the Justifier blue gun plugs into your second port, your controller plugs into the first port, and then this pink second gun plugs into that. Now this is very hard to get hold of and can cost you around £200 to get hold of. I think that's around like $260, $280 and even more. I've seen some of them go for $300, $400 to get your hands on it. But this is not the rare thing. Now this is rare. This is the single player Lethal Enforcers 2 Gunfighters single player gun. And you could only get this, as far as I'm aware, through mail order. These are extremely hard to find. If you come across one of these, buy it, because you will never see one again. I've seen 3 perhaps in my entire life, and I've got one of them here. This gun here can cost upwards of £400, and I've seen one go for more than 600. Extremely expensive, extremely hard to get hold of. But this is still not the rarest gun you can get for Lethal Enforcers. This is the 2-player version of Lethal Enforcers 2 gun. This gun here can go upwards of over 1,000. Now on average, I've seen it go, when I have seen it go, for around £400 to £600, but I have seen one go for over 1,000. And if you think it's hard to find the blue version of this gun, this one is near impossible to find. This is the Sega Action Chair. And when we talk about rare peripherals, this is genuinely rare. Now this came out in North America and PAL territories, but the North American version of this chair wasn't a Sega branded device. In fact, it worked with the Super Nintendo as well. It sold equally low copies, but nowhere near as low as this, and it wasn't an official Sega product, whereas in PAL territories in the UK and Europe, this was an officially branded Sega product. Even the PCB inside this chair has the Sega brand logo on it. Now, it's not hard to see why this thing is rare. There's no way stores would be able to stock this normally on their shelves. They'd have to keep these in the warehouses or behind the counters. This thing is massive. It takes up a huge amount of space, and it's not light either, just under 10 kilograms to carry around. So it's not like you could walk into your local store, pick this up and carry it out the door. You'd need at least 2 people, and it may not even fit through the door. The other problem is that it's rubbish. It doesn't control well at all. It's a bit of a novelty, and you can have a little bit of fun with games like Afterburner, but anything else and you're not going to enjoy yourself. Now, I created this custom box, and I used all of my knowledge around how Sega packaged their products to build this as well. The packaging originally came in was like a dull white box that had Sega on the front of it, and I wanted it to look like a properly branded Sega device. And so everything from the packaging, the plastic bags that they used, and this outer shell here is very authentic to how Sega would have done things back in the day. Now, this chair to buy, it's hard to put a price on it. They rarely come up. Maybe once every 2 or 3 years. In fact, for a long time, one didn't come up at all for about 10 years. I managed to get mine for £600, and I've had offers to buy this chair with the custom box at over 2,000. And in fact, I've seen others try to sell chairs, not many, but try to sell chairs at 1,000 plus. So it's really hard to value this. And it's the same with a lot of these rare gaming peripherals, rare games. They come up so rarely, it's hard to put a value on them. I guess it's only worth what you're willing to pay for it. But like I said, the last valuation I had on this was just over £2,000 to buy it with the custom box as well. Now, that was a fun video to make. I love taking all of my consoles and the peripherals off the shelves, opening up again, plugging them in and having a quick play. It's taken me a long time to put this together because I had to repack a lot of this stuff because it's already out, because I play with it regularly. And some of the items that I haven't played with for a while, I couldn't help but get them out and play with them again. I love interacting and playing with this collection. It's not just stuff that sticks up on the shelves. These are things that I still get a lot of enjoyment from, playing on the screen, watching my kids play. They're awesome pieces of entertainment. And the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, for me, is the one that invokes a huge amount of nostalgia, but things that I still get a lot of fun from, especially with the new modern games that are coming out for it. Now that's all we've got for this week's show. Remember, if there's something you've seen or haven't seen that I need to add to this collection, make sure you drop down and put it in the comments below. And if there's anything that you wish you could add to your collection, again, stick it in the comments below and let's have a chat about it. But that's it for now. I'll catch you on the next one.